that stuff's all nice, but I gotta tell you the truth, it never saved my life. Speaking or thinking saved my life. Okay, in 2002, I was coaching University of Alaska, and I was asked to go to Lebanon and do some clinics. And so I go to Lebanon, and I'm pretty excited about it. I like to travel. And I go to Lebanon, and I'm in Beirut. Beirut's great. I mean, it's a beautiful city. And when I was there, they uncovered some Roman ruins. So it's pretty neat. I'm a history major, a history professor. So all of that was great. And then we go out, and we decide we're going to do a clinic out in the far regions along the Syrian border. And so I go in this gym, and I give a lecture. And I get in the gym, and I'm talking, and I'm dribbling and passing, and I start shooting. I go to the free throw line, and I go to shoot the ball, and the rim is shaking. A little different. Still went in. I felt good. Go to shoot again. Now it's shaking a lot more. The guy comes running up and goes, Coach, we got to get out of here. I go, why? He goes, we're being bombed. I thought it was an earthquake. I'm from Alaska. We have earthquakes, But no, what happened is the Israelis were bombing the Syrians in Lebanon. Okay, so we get in our little car, we go riding out there, we're going a million miles an hour. We go over this hill, and here is the Syrian army. And they're not happy. They got half tracks and tanks and soldiers, and they stop our car, and we're screaming in Arabic, and our guys are screaming back, and I'm in the back seat. And a guy comes up, and he takes his AK-47, and he puts it through the window. He's about this far from my head, and he goes, ID! And I go, damn. Okay, so I don't have a passport. The only thing I have is my license. And so I pull out my license, and I show it to him like this, and he goes, you're an American! I go, no, I'm an Alaskan! He goes, okay, go! So, speaking saved my life. Basketball has never done that for me. But what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to throw out some things. I'm going to tell you some stories and talk about some of my philosophies. And hopefully, there are things that will help you, whether it's in your game, your life, or in other things you do. And it really revolves around three different things. Doing little things well, achieving goals as opposed to setting goals, and doing the right thing. And I don't know where it all started or what single thing had a big impact, but I learned really early about doing little things well from my dad. I was about 11 years old, and I decided I needed to make money. I had no money. So I need to make some money. So I'm thinking, brainstorm, what can I do? I got it. We bought a new shovel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go shovel sidewalks and driveways. In those days, this is a little bit ago. In those days, you would get $3 to $5 to do a sidewalk and a driveway. So, figuring out, if I get up early in the morning to get out and start shoveling, I bet you I could do 20 driveways. Now I'm all fired up, First time it snows, I'm ready to go. First snow comes, end of November, no school in New Britain, Connecticut. I get all excited. I go, okay, Dad, I'm going to go make my fortune. He said, oh, okay, good. He says, but make sure you do ours first. I'm like, oh, because he's not going to pay me. All right, I'll do ours first. So I get out there, I'm, okay, Dad, I'm done. Nope. He says, what I want you to do is, along the driveway, I want you to take the shovel and go like this and make perfect lines so when it freezes, it looks good. Okay. Okay, Dad, I'm done. Nope. While you were shoveling, snow fell off of the shovel. It's making little mounds and get icy. Now let's sweep that off. Okay, Dad, I'm done. Nope. Nope. He says, you see, along the doorstep right here, there's some snow, and the sun comes up and it's going to melt that snow. It's going to turn to water. Later it's going to freeze. Your mom's going to fall on her butt, and we're all in trouble. Okay. Okay, Dad, I'm done. He said, that's a great job. He said, hey, Mrs. Kovaleski called, wanted you to go do hers. Well, pretty soon, Mr. Kiltonic called. And somebody else called. Somebody else called. And I had so many jobs, I hired my little brother and sister. And the first thing they did, they go, Al, we're done. Nope. Got to go along the edges. And I learned doing little things makes such a big difference. It's no different in your sport. In the early 1970s, I was at a coaching clinic, and Bear Bryant from Alabama was speaking. And Bear Bryant gets up and he gives a lecture. He's a legendary coach at the University of Alabama. He gets up and there's 300 people in the room, and he's talking about his football program and why they're good. And somebody says, well, Coach, what do you run? Now today with Mike's team, they run a lot of technical stuff. In those days, they did. Bear Bryant looks, he goes, boys, we run 42 power. The 4 back through the 2 hole. And we do this, this, and this. And one of the coaches raises his hand and goes, yeah, Coach, what else do you do? He goes, boys, we run 42 power. He says, it's not about what we run. It's about the block. It's about hitting the hole at the right time. It's about doing little things well. That stood with me. Later on in life, a guy named George Raffling, who today is like the VP of Nike, and was then the coach of Washington State, told his own story about growing up and learning lessons. It was about a little boy that mowed lawns. And the little boy, one day, he runs into a drugstore, and he calls up this lady. He says, Mrs. Johnson, this is Billy. I was wondering if I could have a job mowing your lawn. She goes, geez, I'm sorry, Billy, I got a boy who does a great job. Mrs. Johnson, don't hang up. I'll crisscross the lawn. He said, I'll do around the edge. I'll even trim your hedges. Geez, Billy, you sound great, but I got a boy who does a great. No, Mrs. Johnson, don't hang up. I'll carry in your groceries. No extra charge. She goes, Billy, I'm sorry. I got a boy who does a great job, and I got to go. And she hangs up. And the drugstore clerk is over here and just goes, hey, Billy, you want a job that bad? I'll hire you. He goes, no, sir. My name's not really Billy. It's Jimmy. I mowed Mrs. Johnson's lawn. I was calling to see if I was doing a good enough job. And that's doing little things well. We do that with our team. We're a team. I always, when you got to coach guys for 6 months, you got to fool, right? I mean, you can't, because they don't believe you after a while. So you got to do different things that make the game fun. We play nets for a pop, right? Nets for a pop is the greatest game ever. I was coaching a high school team in Olympia, Washington, and we had to shoot free throws. We want to be a good free throw shooting team. So what we did is we made free throws harder. Now, a pop in those days was a soda. And we would get 4 guys, and we would line them up, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the first guy would shoot, and if he hit the rim and it went in, it's a 1. And the next guy would shoot, he hit the rim, it went in, it's a 1. And the next guy, he missed it. But the 4th guy, he shot it, it went in, and hit nothing but net. So the other 2 guys owed him. The first 2 guys owed him 1 pop. The guy that missed owed him 2. And now our guys started making up rules. Like if 3 people tied with nets, the guy that doesn't owe is double. Or they'd have to run a suicide. Or they'd have to do something. And it made the game more fun. We're in the state final, Olympia High School, 1986. 20 seconds to go, we're up 4. Our little point guard gets fouled. Now there's no 3-pointers then. So if we get a 5-point lead, game's over. Our little point guard, John Kiley, goes to the free throw line for the biggest shot in his life. 16,000 people screaming, going crazy. Okay? John Kiley gets ready to shoot, and I'm sitting there, and his buddy, John Cook, right here, looks at him, and I see his mouth go, nets for a pop. And I'm over here, and I go, no! Just make it! And Kylie doesn't hear me. He's looking at Cook going, okay. I'm going, no! I'm ready to call a timeout. I got to let him shoot it. John Kylie goes to the line, biggest shot of his life, shoots it, front of the rim, back of the rim, and in. 8,000 people, our crowd's going nuts. We just won the state title. Their crowd's crying. John Cook and Mike Cooper are high-fiving. John Kiley makes the biggest shot of his life and goes, damn! It wasn't a net and he lost a pop. That's what we do with our team. Those are little things that you try to do. If you think about them in your life, you make things a little harder. I got a rule here. I've been here for 5 years. Okay? In 5 years, I have never driven up the hill from the Drubner up on campus. 5 years. Rain, wind, snow, whatever. I'm going to walk. Because I'm an athlete. Because I work out. Because I see every day all of you folks come down to the gym and half of you hit the handicap button to open the door on your way to the weight room. I'm going, what are you thinking? You know where my office is. I can see that door open automatic. I hate those people. Because when you start doing little things, it becomes a part of what you do every day. You don't take shortcuts. It becomes a part of your personality. So I'm going to walk that stupid hill. And if I'm tired, I'm sore, whatever. Today I was coming up here, give my talk. I parked down by the drum. And I walked up the hill. And now I know it's sloppy and wet and muddy. You know, the tennis team's running by me, kicking mud, you know, right? And I'm trying to stay out of everybody's way. But little things, as you're going to see when we go along, make a difference in how you approach everything. How you approach your grades in school, how you approach your sports. It just becomes something you take pride in. You go, you know, for me it's all about buttons and hills. I'm not going to do that. The second part, outside of little things, is achieving goals, not setting goals. Everybody sets goals. You know, New Year's Day, right? I'm going to lose 20 pounds. No, you're not. No, you got to achieve that goal. Don't just say it, do it. And set a good goal. You ever see a flea circus? Anybody ever see a flea circus? Man, you're young. No, I was your age. We had carnivals. From Plainville, Connecticut, they had a carnival. There's a little old man sitting there at a table, and he's got a flea circus. He's got fleas on the table. They just do this. You know, I walk by, they don't move. They're doing this. Dog walks by, they don't move. They're doing this. Finally, I go to this guy and go, how do you train a flea? He goes, boy, come back later, I'll show you. Okay, I want to see this. I mean, what do you do? Bad flea, he's dead, right? How do you train a flea? A flea collar. I go back later, he goes, watch. Takes a glass, turns the glass upside down over the fleas. The fleas jump up, they hit their head in the glass. So they don't jump that high. They just jump this high. Fleas are stupid. He takes the glass off, they don't know the glass is gone. They just know their head hurt when they went like this. So they jump this high. That's how fleas are. Fleas, a limit is set on what they can do. I think that about people. Why do you set a limit on yourself? I can only do this. I can only do that. Lou Holtz, football coach, anybody know who he is? Is it Notre Dame, South Carolina? All the old people are shaking their heads. All the young people have no clue. All right, Lou Holtz, legendary football coach, Notre Dame, South Carolina. Sometimes he's on TV today. He talks about when he was a kid, in order to be a man, where he lived on the Ohio River, he had to swim across the Ohio. It was about a mile wide. So he's 13 years old. He's going to impress his friends, his girlfriend, his parents. Trains all summer. All summer. September comes. Water's warm, ready. He's got his friends. Rowboat's going to follow him. He's going to swim the Ohio. This is the Ohio. He gets in. He goes a quarter of the way across the Ohio. He's feeling good because he's trained. He gets halfway across the Ohio. He's starting to get a little tired, but I'm going to do this. Gets 3/4 of the way across the Ohio. I can't do it. So he swims back. Oh, that's what we do with goals. We get that close, and we go, I can't do it. You know, this is Roger Bannister. How many people know Roger Bannister? Just a show of hands. The English guy does, see? Okay, Roger Bannister was the first person to run the mile in under 4 minutes. Under 4 minutes. Until he did, it was deemed by science impossible. There's a big cover story in Life magazine in around 1954. early in 54, how if somebody runs a 4-minute mile, their heart will burst. I have an aneurysm. You can't do it. It's impossible. Roger Bannister training to be a doctor. He becomes a neurosurgeon. So he doesn't have enough time to really train right. But he picks up his regimen. He works. He gets a couple people to run with it. Finally, in April of 1954, April 12th, 1954, he goes out and with his pacers and people helping, he runs the best mile he can. He doesn't know how fast. The announcer drags out the drama. He says, Roger Bannister is the winner of this race. Helped by so-and-so and so. And the guy goes on for like a minute and a half. And then he goes, in a time of 3, and the crowd erupts. They didn't even hear the second part. It was 3:59.4. He had broken the 4-minute barrier that they thought your heart will burst. Here's the amazing thing about it. 1 year, within the 1 year, 37 people ran it in under 4 minutes. And within 2 years, 300 people ran it in under 4 minutes. It was all about that glass on your head. Everybody thinks, you have to think of doing the impossible to do the impossible. I look at people, like with my team, I always think about, shooting's the easiest thing in the world. There's a lot of things to shooting a basketball. Your grip, your balance, your eyes, your focus. You know what? Practice. I don't care if you shoot it like this. If you shoot 1,000 times a day, you're going to be pretty good. That's all it is. It's time. It's commitment to doing something over and over again. We always do this. Everybody looks at themselves and it's not fair. I'm too short. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. I'm too ugly. I'm too slow. I'm too this. Right? Everybody's got all these excuses. My dad never let me have an excuse. I just think he was the meanest guy in the world. Dad, I'm working hard. I was playing pony football. And I wasn't starting. I was a 7th grader. It was up to 9th grade. I'm working real hard. I'm doing this thing. My dad said, Albert, come here. Washing machines work hard. He says, now, play smart. And I'd be like, okay. And then I would go ask and watch and listen. And eventually, I was working hard, but I started working a little smarter. And I started playing. And that's the thing. You can't look at, you got to stop doing it's not fair. It's not fair. The third thing that has made such a big difference is doing the right thing. You know who Achilles and Aeneas are? Why don't you go to school? Come on. Homer, Virgil, you got those guys? All right. Anybody know the big difference between between Achilles and Aeneas? The fundamental difference between two people in two epic, masterfully written stories. And they're both played out as heroes. Here's the difference. Everything that Achilles did was for Achilles. Everything Achilles did was for Achilles. His glory. If he lost men, it didn't matter. It was for his glory. Everything Aeneas did was for the people around him. His fathom about his fate, he was taught, was to be a man for other men, to do the right thing for other men, to help lead them. And if he got no glory, and if he had nothing came his way, that was okay. If he was doing the right thing and doing it as well as he can. And my whole life, I've tried to appreciate people doing the right thing. You all know who Joe Paterno is, right? From Penn State. One of the greatest football coaches in the game. Tells a great story. In 1977, the coach of Syracuse, Frank Maloney, was told if he didn't beat Penn State, he would be fired. But if he beat Penn State, they were going to give him a 3-year contract extension. The week of the game with Penn State, Joe Paterno's 11-year-old son got a severe head injury jumping on a trampoline. He wouldn't be able to attend the game. The game comes, Penn State wins 31-24. Frank Maloney's going to be fired. Joe Paterno's not there. Frank Maloney walks into his locker room and he gathers his team and he says, fellas, let's everybody get down on a knee and say a prayer for Joe Paterno's son. And then he said some nice words about him. Frank Maloney could have cared less about the fact he was losing his job. He was more worried about Joe Paterno's son. And that's what doing the right thing is. Doing the right thing is over and over making decisions because it's for the betterment of everybody, not for you. It's about being Aeneas and not being Achilles. Jonas Salk. You know who Jonas Salk is? Okay. He came up with a vaccination for polio. In the early 1950s, polio was the scourge. Polio was kind of like AIDS is today. You know, it was almost a death sentence, not quite. Franklin Roosevelt, the president, obviously the most famous polio victim. Jonas Salk in 1947 started working on a cure, and by 1955 they came up, they had an experiment, and they were able to come up with a vaccination that was going to cure polio. You would not get polio anymore. By 1957, that vaccination was all over the world. And they asked Jonas Salk, they said, hey, who has the patent on polio? How much money can you make? Jonas Salk looked at him, he goes, you don't patent a vaccination for polio, nor would you patent the sun coming up every day. And he took this amazing discovery of his and he gave it to the world. Think about that in terms of today's world. Somebody discovered some great thing. Would they give it to the world? Or would they and do the right thing? Or would it be all about them? Again, it's always, to me, Achilles and Aeneas. I look at all the bad examples today. I love it. Government, coaching, teaching, parents. You know, I had a parent who used to come to games, and every time his son went out of the game, he would scream and yell and call me names and this and that. And I called him into my office and I said, you know, you understand something? When you're yelling at me for taking your son out, you're really yelling at Joe, somebody or other over here, whose son I put in. And he didn't get that. You know, and I look at that. I go to games, 9th graders today, and see parents and you know, getting on officials and some of the things that happen in games. Little kids, little league games. I'm amazed by that. I really am. When I grew up, there was 4 adults in the gym. There was 2 officials and 2 coaches. And if you said anything to any of them, they would probably hit you. And so you didn't. But it was a great rule. It was a great way to be. Because now, when a 9-year-old kid is playing basketball and his dad's screaming at the coach or the official, what does that 9-year-old grow up thinking? You know, and there's so many of these bad examples in teaching. It happens every day. I see parents come to scream at a teacher because their kid got a C+. No, they earned a C+. They earned a C+. No one's out to get them. You know, that just happens. Look at government today. When you wake up in the morning, do you think to yourself, man, our government's working for me today? How many people think that? All the infighting that goes on, are they doing what's best for the country? Or are they doing what's best for them? Is it Achilles or is it Aeneas? So that right there, doing little things well, achieving goals as opposed to just setting them and doing the right thing, has kind of been just a philosophy for me. It's been a guide for everything that I've done as a coach. And I keep learning from my players as well as people around me. You know, I'm an avid reader. I read everything. Everything I can find. I read stupid stuff. You know, but I love to read. I'm amazed by how many people today don't read. You know, at Christmas break, I have my players read a book. You know, because it's like, I always go that we make decisions. You make decisions based on the here and now, as opposed to using the knowledge that other people have built up for you. You know, when you read, it opens you up to so many different things. It's just like paying attention in class. How many of you have a class that bores the hell out of you? Okay. I have Art Appreciation 101. Has anybody had taken Art Appreciation? Okay, here's what it is. Art Appreciation 101. For 50 minutes, you sit right here, and on the screen, they flash paintings. And they go, you know, Da Vinci, Renoir, Monet. And then they just go off. And then you get a test. They give you a piece of paper, and they flash them again. And you got to get them right. I hated it. I mean, that's 50 minutes, nonstop. No talking, just pictures. I went for my first job interview, E.O. Smith High School, Storrs, Connecticut. 8 people on the committee. 4 of them want a basketball coach. 4 of them want a good history teacher. They do not think you can be both. So I get in there, I sit down, they start asking me questions. Okay? The group that wants me goes, Coach Sokaitis, who was the first president of the United States? Oh, I got that. The group that doesn't want me goes, Mr. Sokaitis, in 1972, the CIA financed the truckers' strike to overthrow the Chilean government under Salvador Allende. Who was Salvador Allende's right-hand man? Are you kidding? I'm like, I don't know. So I'm sitting there, and I decide an hour into this, I am not going to get this job. Just give me 4-4, I'm not going to get it. And as I'm sitting there, I'm looking up, and there is a picture on the wall. And this lady from the side that does not want me goes, oh, Mr. Sokaitis, I see you're an art student. Do you recognize that? Okay, flashback. 101. All those things going nuts on the screen. I look up and I know it's an impressionist painting. I only know 2 guys. It's either Renoir or Monet. Roll the dice. I go, that's an early Renoir. I think one of his earlier works. The lady goes, that's correct. You have an art background. She moves over here. I get the job 5-3. My career is going off and running. Read, listen, watch, see what's out there. You have to, you know, I always go, read, travel, do. Read, travel, do. Read everything you can. Walk in a library, and here's the problem with reading for people. They read something they don't like, and so they, from then on, go, I hate reading. Well, yeah, you read about existentialism, you know, and you know, you're trying to understand Nietzsche, and you have no chance. You have no chance. Okay, so, you know, I don't care, read a Spider-Man comic book. But start that motor going. And pretty soon you advance to the Hardy Boys, and then Louis L'Amour, and before you know it, Hemingway. You know? And then you read For Whom the Bell Tolls. I told my guys, you want to learn about women? Read about Ernest Hemingway. Best pickup line in the world, For Whom the Bell Tolls. Okay? Robert and Maria are in love. Okay? But there's a little guy that kind of likes Maria, has no chance. And he's talking to her one day, and he goes, in a fine body there's magic. I don't know why there is in some and not in others, but thou hast it. Bang. It's all over. Read. Read. Find out what's out there. Travel. What's out there? In the last 5 years, I got to go to China. I got to go to Africa. I got to go to Greece. And all the time, I give the same message. I teach a stupid game of putting a little ball in a big basket and doing it better than the other person. All I got to know is do little things well. Do little things well. That's my whole coaching philosophy. I coached Western State and Colorado, the men and the women in the same year. Women's coach quit opening day of the season. Asked me to coach both teams. Okay, I'll do it. This is great. This is great. Coaching women was awesome. We lose a game, I would hate my girls, and they would bring me peach cobbler pie. 39 years I've coached. Those guys have never bought me peach cobbler pie. Never. Never going to happen. But I'm coaching both teams, and my whole thing was we've got to have a personality. One thing we do well. So we decided we're not going to turn over the ball. End of the year, Western State, 2006. The #1 team in the nation in fewest turnovers, the Western State women. The #3 team in the nation, fewest turnovers, Western State men. Everybody calls me up on the coaching circuit. Coach, you got to come in and teach us. What drills? How do you take care of the ball? And I get up, and there's 300 coaches in Seattle. And this guy, what's the secret? I said, okay, write this down. Get your pens out. Here's the secret. Throw the ball to the person with the same freaking color you have on, and you'll never turn it over. That's all I got. That's all we did. That was our focus. Do little things right. If you're wearing red and I'm wearing red, it's going to you. It's not going to blue. You know, my guys sometimes they struggle with that. They throw it to blue. I'm like, okay. So that's what I've learned. And the last thing is, you all have had an influence in your life. I've had one special influence that really, outside of my parents, taught me everything. A guy named good old Sam, little old man, this big, 72 years old, skinny. 72 was really old to me when I was 14. Not as old anymore. That's not bad. Good old Sam. He's the nastiest, meanest guy in the projects. I'd come home with my report card. He'd stop me. Albert, come here. Let me see your report card. In those days, they trusted you. They let you carry your report card home. Carry home. You take my report card. A C in English? You speak English every day. Smack me on the head. Pull my ear like this. Those days if we had earrings, I'd have no ears. Just me. I'd play basketball. I'd be lighting it up. Best 9th grader. Roosevelt Junior High School. He'd watch the game and go, you're not very good. I'm the best 9th grader. You're not very good. You don't get down like this when you dribble. You don't ball fake. You just do so many stupid things. You lead with the wrong foot. Man, you should just quit playing. You're no good. Remember, and see, today's world, you can't say that. Today, you're supposed to say, you're challenged. No, you didn't care about challenge. You stink. Okay, what do I got to do? Well, try this. Try it. There's no hope for you, but here, try to fake with your wrists instead of your arms. Okay? Try to lead with a double jab instead of a single. Okay, you still stink. I don't think you'll get it. Every day. Every day you'd be getting on. I'd go play one-on-one with kids. Not very good. Not very good. Once in a while, about once every month, he'd go, hey, Albert, playing good today. I'd be walking around school. Everybody would be going, hey, what's up? Sam told me I played well. Woo! Sam told everybody they stink. So, finally, about my junior year, it's November, I go out to shoot about 4:20, just getting dark right around Thanksgiving time. Here comes old Sam. Albert, I'm going to shoot, you rebound. Never seen him shoot. Okay. I'll rebound. I'm shooting 100 shots. Tell me how many I made. Okay. Shoots. Makes 76 out of 100. Damn, Sam. You're good. Why didn't you play in the NBA? Smacks me on the head. Hey, stupid. When I was a kid, they didn't let black people play in the NBA. I went, Sam, that's not fair. Smacks me again. He said, life's not fair. If life was fair, there wouldn't be crippled children. I'm looking at him like, what? He goes, you see that window up there? I lived in 151 Malachowski Circle. 149 Malachowski Circle. There's a little boy in a wheelchair. He will never walk. Doesn't complain. Great musician. Great writer. Matter of fact, he counts every day when you come out and shoot how many shots you take and how many you make. Rest of my life, every time I shoot, I just think of that boy counting. Never forgot that. He goes, life's not fair. You're all different. He goes, you ever see The Wizard of Oz? I go, yeah. You guys saw you see The Wizard of Oz? Right? What did Oz give the Tin Man? Okay, the lion, scarecrow. Right. I said that. He goes, stupid. He didn't give him any of those things. They already had them. Remember? They gave him a diploma to the scarecrow. Because smart people have diplomas. I question that. And then he gave a clock to the Tin Man. Right? And the lion got a medal. He said to those three, you already have what you need. It's in here. Sam said to me, what do you want to be? I said, well, I want to play pro basketball. I'm too small. I was the shortest kid in 9th grade. He goes, stupid. It's not about this. It's about this. Where do you want to be? How are you going to get there? I never forgot that. 1 week later, walking down the road, here comes Willie Hall, a good friend of mine, played pro football for the Oakland Raiders. Hey, Al, you know what happened? Know what? Well, old Sam died. Died? Yeah, he was really sick. Sick? He just made 76 out of 100 shots. Now, he was sick. He went around the neighborhood to teach every kid one last thing. He said, what did he tell you? He said, he told me I could be whatever I want to be. It's all up to me. I never forgot that. I never forgot that. Whenever I played, I wore number 24. Because 76 from 100 was 24. My first son is named Charlie after my wife's dad. Our second son is named Sam after good old Sam. So someplace in all of that, when I talk to people, there's a little bit of Sam. And someplace out there for you to decide is what's of value to you. Do you understand what doing little things well is all about? Do you go out and work when everybody else is home? Do you get up and take extra shots? Do you lift? Do you work on your feet? Do you do the little things that are going to make a big difference? Do you not worry about setting goals in terms of I'm going to run this and this, but you go out and do it? Do you walk the hill every day? Do you not push the button, but you open the door? And finally, the biggest part is doing the right thing. You got to give back. All of you in this room, your talent is on loan. You don't own it. If you don't believe that, look at anybody in any field, right? See all the musicians today? People like a Barbara Streisand with the voice of a bird, most magnificent voice I'd ever heard. Today she can't sing. She's kind of down to my level. You know, and all those people out there that have talent on loan. So while you have it, appreciate it and give it back. Don't keep it all tied up. Capiche? I appreciate it. Ask me any questions. What do you have? Have to have something. Yes.
What is the biggest struggle in life?
What's that?
What is the biggest struggle in life?
The biggest struggle in life? Well, I don't know if it's one thing. You know, life's not like a nice smooth road. There's always boulders in the way. And every time you think you got things right, something gets tossed in your way. You know, if you're an athlete, you sprain an ankle just when you start to play well. You know, if you're trying to save money, the car breaks down. And what I think life is about adversity and dealing with adversity. How do you deal with it? You know, does it beat you up or does it make you stronger? And when it makes you stronger, as a group, that team is real successful. As an individual, that individual is real successful. There's nobody in this room that can't be very good at something. I don't care, sports, music, anything you do, if you're willing to put in that kind of time and willing to work at it. But there will be adversity along the way. It won't always be easy. You know, anybody here play the trumpet? I can make you the greatest trumpet player in the world. Yeah, I can. I've never played. Play the scale. And when you play the simplest scale, better than anybody in the world, you will then be the world's greatest trumpet player. Because everything evolves from that. My father-in-law is a world-class trumpet player. Played with Benny Goodman, if you know who that is. He's on some Johnny Cash records. I have a son who's a classical guitarist, which means I contributed nothing to the gene pool. But he plays 6-7 hours a day. So that's, you know, that's the struggle, is how you're going to deal with the setbacks and still keep going forward, not losing that sight. You know, not getting 3/4 of the way across the river and swimming back. Give me another one. I know you're all going to go home right now. You just can't wait to read Virgil and Homer. I do this. I'll tell you what. You want to spark your interest? Walk in the library. Just walk in the library. Pick up any random book and read one page. Read one page. And I guarantee you, you'll want to do that again. And when you read enough pages, you'll be amazed. Yes?
3 books you'd recommend a college-age student to read.
College-age student. Well, I'm real fond of the book, The Boys in the Boat. The Boys in the Boat is the story of the 1936 Olympic rowing team. And it started as a group of guys who go to the University of Washington during the Depression. And it's about a group of kids that have nothing. They have nothing. And what it means to be on that team. And what it means to work together. If they're not perfectly synchronized, they're not going to win. And they end up winning the gold medal against all odds. I think that's just a fantastic book to read and get something out of. A second book, for your age, I don't know, I don't read your age, but I read a lot of history stuff. I'm right now reading the life of Red Cloud.
Red Fox?
Red Cloud,
Oh.
the Lakota.
A little different.
Now, I really like the book, The Gates of Fire. The Gates of Fire is a book about the Spartan stand at Thermopylae, and all about duty and honor and discipline. And why were a group of people able to withstand thousands and thousands of people? You know, Thermopylae lasted 3 days, and a spy tells here's Thermopylae, the Gates of Fire is a narrow passage in the mountains. The Persians basically sent thousands of people to attack a group of there's 300 Spartans, there's about 550 people all told. And they held this little piece against thousands. And finally, on the third day, on the second day, the night of the second day, after the Spartans hold off the Untouchables, which were the Persians' special forces troops, after they held them off, a spy tells the Persians how to get around so they can attack from both sides. And with the king of the Persians looking on, they put a couple thousand archers to set their arrows and to fire down and to basically end the lives of the Spartans. And the Spartans, knowing they're going to die, they put down their shields and they look at the king and they laugh. They say, "You couldn't beat us. You couldn't beat us like a man." And it's a great story of heroism and basically discipline and loyalty to a cause and everything else. And you know, a third book that's really good for eliciting the idea of doing things well is the book by Collins, Good to Great, which talks about all the little things that go into being successful. And one of his big statements is, it's not the direction that the bus is moving. It's all about the people on the bus. And I really believe that with teams. I really believe it's all about those people in the locker room that dictate your success. You know, do they play together? Do they like each other? Or are they all about me? So those would be three things that I would go with. I really appreciate everybody coming out here, even if you guys had to do it for credit, but I do appreciate you coming out. And there's a few other things I do normally in the history realm, but if I can be of any help, I'm happy to do that. Thank you very much.
Coach Sokaitis, everybody.